Hi everybody, in this video we're going to walk through some of the problems from the Level 1 worksheet. So let's start here. With number 1, we have a couple of triangles saying to find the measure of each angle indicated. So as we can see, for number 1, we are going to be solving for that missing angle. Remember, by your triangle sum theorem, all three angles are going to add up to 180 degrees. Okay? So that means if I were to go ahead and take 180, subtract out 135 and 25, I should get my missing angle answer. So if you go ahead and plug that into your calculator, our missing angle measure is going to be 20 degrees. Okay, simple as that. Going down to our next section, we're doing a similar type of problem, but now we're solving for x. So here we still don't know the angle measure, but we're also going to go one step further and solving for x, not just that angle measure. So again, using our triangle sum theorem, I know that if I added all of these angles together, so if I took 78 degrees and added it to 56 degrees and added it to the x plus 58 degrees, I know that that all equals 180 degrees. Okay, now we do some algebra. We're going to combine some like terms because I see that 78, 56, and 58 all do not have variables, so we can combine all of those numbers together. Now when I add all of those numbers together, I do get a grand total of 192. Don't forget to bring down my x, and that still equals 180 degrees. Okay, now I want to get x all by itself. In order to do that, I need to move my 192 away from that x. Currently it's being added to my x, so I need to subtract it out. And I'm going to subtract it out on both sides of my equation. Okay, now that that's canceled there, I have x equals 180 minus 192, which gives me a negative 12 as my answer. Now we're moving on to our quadrilaterals, seeing how we are doing the same thing as we did in the first set of problems, find the measure of each angle indicated. So we are going to be looking for this question mark here, but now we have quadrilaterals. Remember that a quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides. In class, we came up with finding how many total degrees of the interior angles polygons have. If it has 4 sides, we would create a singular diagonal. And with that one diagonal, our quadrilateral would be split up into 2 triangles. Now we know by the triangle sum theorem, each triangle will equal 180 degrees. Since we have 2 triangles, my total degrees is going to be 360. Okay, so just a quick reminder on how many total degrees we are now looking at because we have a quadrilateral instead of a triangle. Okay, so with that knowledge, that means I can take 101, add it to 80 degrees, add it to 105, and let's call this angle L since it is angle L. If I added it to L, I'd get 360 degrees. Okay. Now, just like any other equation, we're going to combine all of my like terms here. 101, 80, and 105 do not have variables, so we are going to combine those. When I combine those 3 numbers, I get a total of 286. If I added it to my angle L, that will equal 360. Okay. In this case now, I want to isolate my L, so I'm going to subtract out 286 on both sides. Once I've done that, my 286's do cancel here. I get L equals, and this becomes 76. So 76 degrees is my missing angle that we are solving for on number 5. Moving down here, it says identify each pair of angles as corresponding alternating interior, alternating exterior, same side interior, or vertical. Please make sure that you refer back to your theorems and postulates cheat sheet to kind of take note of all of these different positions. Okay, but here we go. Let's go ahead and just point out very quickly what all of these are. Number 7, my X and Y here are in that one intersection, cross from each other, bow tie, they are vertical. Number 8, they are inside of my parallel lines and on the same side of my transversal, so they must be same side interiors. Number 9, I'm seeing that X and Y fall in the same corner around the two different intersections, so that would be considered corresponding. And then lastly, number 10, I'm seeing my X and Y angles are on the outsides of my parallel lines and opposite sides of my transversal. Therefore, we have alternating exteriors. As we scroll down into the next section, we are going to be solving for the angle indicated. Now, remembering again, going back to your theorems and postulates cheat sheet, noting that a corresponding angle, so if your angles are showing up in the same corner around the intersections like this, they're going to be congruent. So if you know you have corresponding angles, they will be the same measure. Alternating interiors and exteriors are also congruent, okay? So if they are alternating opposite sides of your transversal like number 10 is, exterior or even interior inside of my parallel lines, they're going to have equal measure. The other one that is congruent is your verticals. Verticals, the ones like number 7 happening across from each other in a bow tie, are also congruent. The only different one is your same side interiors or exteriors. If they look like number 8 and they fall on the same side of your transversal and are both inside or both outside of our parallel lines, they're going to be supplementary. Okay, and remember, supplementary just means that if you add the two together, they will equal 180 degrees. So using all of that knowledge, hopefully you should be able to solve for 11, 12, 13, 14. There are answers at the end of the worksheet if you need to double check your work. Here we're revisiting our triangle congruences. Complete the congruent statement by naming the corresponding side or angle. Okay, so for 15, let's start here. I see that I'm looking for the side IG, and I want to know what side that corresponds to on my other triangle. Making sure to pay very close attention to our triangle congruent statement here. It says that the triangle IGH is congruent to the triangle WXV, meaning let's kind of number these 1, 2, and 3. So I is the starting point, number 1. Then it goes to G, 2. And then it goes to H, 3. Okay? It will follow this order. And in order to get your corresponding pieces of your triangles, you have to follow that order. So in my triangle statement, it is congruent to W is in the first place, X is in the second place, and then V is in the third place. So this is the order that I have to go. Now again, let's look at IGH. the congruent piece that I'm looking for is what is congruent to IG. That is the number 1 going to number 2 on my second triangle. That is WX. So that would be my answer there. Okay. You can use the same method on the other pieces here. See how 17 is asking for another segment, 18 is asking for the angle. So similarly, how we did this 1, 2, 3, make sure you do that for number 18 as well. And once again, there are answer keys at the end of this worksheet if you need to go ahead and check your answers.